What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my page, Moneymaking Juggernaut. I'm your host, Eric Richardson, the #1 educator in the asset recovery business. Today, we have another success story. And to be honest, guys, this is going to be my favorite success story because it is with my friend, my partner, Rusty. If you guys have been following the page, you've probably seen he's renovated a few of my properties, and now he's actually gotten into the surplus funds game. So, Rusty, thank you for joining the call. Today, we're going to
Yes,
talk
sir.
about the deal that you got. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Tell them where you got your deal,
Yep.
how you got it.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. So, Eric, we've been friends for a couple of years now, and I see that you've been doing really well, teaching people how to do this business and also, filing claims and, making money that way for yourself. So, me personally, just a little quick background is that, there's only so many kitchens I can build, only so many boats I can work on. So I'm like, oh, you know what? Let me try another avenue of income. And I've obviously been watching you, do this over the years. I'm like, you know what? Let me get into this. So I finally got into this. And Eric, you were great. I know I was a pain in the ass a lot of times, asking you thousands of questions until like midnight, 1 in the morning, and I appreciate that. Um, so yeah, so I got into the business, and I set up my LLC. And Eric, I took the course, right? I took the surplus funds course, and that took me about 2 to 3 days to really kind of digest the whole process because I'm more of like a systems guy. Um, one plus one has to equal two. If there's something in the way that doesn't make sense to me, then I got to figure it out. And that's why I was asking all these different questions all the time. So, after taking the course, which was super full of information, I made my LLC, and then I got on to Excess Elite, which is an amazing platform and CRM to keep track of all my leads, all my conversations, all my contacts, everything like that. So for me, the way I got this deal, I strictly use Excess Elite. I don't make like pre-foreclosure calls. I really don't. I don't know if there is anything else to do. That's the only thing I know how to do. So so I'm in there pretty much every day. So we have like the Excess Elite, the CRM, and then we have the other side where all the leads are already scrubbed and skip traced,
Mhm.
right? So it'll have Mrs. Jones, their address, the address of the property, their mailing address, and all the different phone numbers and all the different families' numbers, which is awesome. So what I do is I just take all of that information and I download it to my computer. Then I pop it into the CRM, and then I hit them up. And then I set up the automations, right?
Right.
The calls, the voicemail drops, the texts, things like that. So, for example, if it's a Monday, I'll spend an hour just grabbing a new county, putting it in the system, and then letting the automation kind of scrub all of those leads. And then the people that, they'll call back, they'll text back. Some are like, leave me alone. I'm not the property owner. Some are like, wait a minute. That, like, for example, I got a I got another guy here in Atlanta, and he was like, "Oh, that's my father's grandmother's property that just went up, and my dad got too sick; he didn't want to care about it, and now we're actually investigating that tax deed sale as well." So, so yeah, I mean, basically, like I said before, I don't know what else to do, so
Mhm.
I strictly use the CRM Access Elite, and just kind of hit up different counties every day. And then the people that are contacting me, they're already like warm leads. So they're
Mhm.
like, hey, you know what I mean? Hey, like, tell me more. Tell me what else do you know about my grandfather's house? Or like, hey, who are you? Like, I have a couple of people like, who the hell are you? How'd you get my phone number? Blah blah blah. I'm like, listen, my name is Rusty, and I kind of like downplay the situation.
Yeah.
My name is
Yeah.
Rusty. I had this guy last week, and he's like, "Oh my God, we're not talking about my property." No, no, no. I'm like, "No, your grandmother's property that went to auction." And he was like, "You know what? I don't. I just didn't want to take care of the property anymore, so I let it go to foreclosure." And people also don't have the money to, paint and renovate and hire a realtor and do all that stuff. So they're like, you know what? Screw it.
Just leave it.
Um, yeah. So that's kind of really all I do is I let the system like scrub all those leads. And
Mhm.
then the ones that are coming back to me, it's just like an open conversation and they're ready to talk.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's perfect. For those of you who are watching, this is exactly why I said this is my favorite success story because
Yeah,
Rusty, with all of his questions, I knew that he was an action taker. I knew that, okay, he's a hard worker, and I'm not just answering these questions for no reason. Like he's hitting me up because he's learning the system. And if I tell
right.
him that, because Rusty's doing exactly what I do, guys, I take Excess Elite, we plug it in. And it's a testament. Now you guys see it's not just working for me, it's working for Rusty, it's working for other people. When you have the automated marketing, now Rusty doesn't have to sit up there and work his thumbs. The CRM will send a message, send
Yeah.
a follow-up
And
message.
cold calling too. Cold calling is a pain in the I know there is another cold calling side to this,
Yeah.
but that's just kind of like not my
But people don't
thing.
really answer the phone that much nowadays,
Yeah,
especially a
yeah,
random phone
exactly.
number. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like, when you hit them up, the automation part is really good because you can and you can so like you actually had it set up a certain way,
Mhm. And you can
like
alter it
kind
and
of
edit it to your own. Yeah.
exactly. So what I did was I do have an extensive sales background in the fitness industry, so I just applied it to this.
Awesome.
And I still have the same framework,
Mhm.
as far as like, text and email first and then wait a day
Yeah.
and then hit them up with a second, hey, it's been a while, and then wait a day,
Exactly.
and then like by then it's the fifth day, it sends them another text, hey. So like I do get a lot of that traction on like the second and third contact. They're like, oh, you know what, I saw your text the other day, sorry I didn't get back to you, but
Exactly. They just didn't have time. And that's the thing. There's so many people who do
yeah,
business that will call once or text once and then say, this number
it
doesn't
don't work.
work.
No,
And not even
no.
realizing that if you just follow up, boom, it would have worked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I'll just describe my first deal real quick. So that's what I did. So it was in Broward County, Florida,
Mhm.
and this lady Maxine, sweet little old lady, um, and so she responded to one of my text messages. She's like, "Hey, how much money do I have?"
Mhm.
And I told her, and because what happened was is her condo, it first went to auction, and then I guess what is it? Within 3 days, the buyer has to come with the funds.
Mhm. Yep.
Is
24
that what it
48
is?
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever the hours are. And so the buyer didn't show up.
Mhm.
And so she was like, oh my God. So she was actually going to get uh, um,
Different amount.
like
Yeah.
like a certain amount. I forget what it was. And then so she was notified that it was, day one or whatever, notified that it was sold. And then she got notified a couple of days later that it went back to auction. And now she's like, shit, I'm
Yeah.
supposed to get this money. And then it went back on the schedule. And then 2 months later, she actually made double. She
Hmm.
made double the amount. And then so like it just happened to be that like it was, right before Christmas time or something that it sold and she got notified and I happened to hit her up and
Hmm.
she was like, "Oh yes, it finally sold at auction." And I took a screenshot and I
Hmm.
went, in the county and the register and in the docket, took a screenshot. Maxine, this is what you're owed. She's like, "Oh my God, perfect." And then I got the attorney, and so it was really just like a timing thing. I was like right there on it,
I'm
and
fine,
we
too.
and we got it done. So I'm actually getting paid tomorrow.
Yeah.
So which
Yeah,
is which
and
is awesome.
we'll have the check here as well so that they can see. Yeah, that's great. So let's talk about the claiming process with using an attorney. How is your experience working with an attorney for mortgage foreclosures in Florida?
Oh, it's great. So I was actually a realist. I've done a lot of things. I try to be a well-rounded person. So, I was a real estate agent in Boston. So I'm very familiar with working with attorneys in real estate. Um, but like the average attorney in real estate doesn't really know this
Our
field.
response, exactly.
I've talked to a couple of clients that are like, oh, I'm having my attorney do it, but they're dragging their feet, but they're doing this, and they're really not like set up. But yeah, here in Florida, I have this guy over in Broward County, and he strictly does this, and it's awesome because I brought the case I got a hold of Maxine. She signed the agreement. I got right to Mike, the attorney. He looked at the docket. He's like, "Brrr," all the way through, and he like scrubbed the crap out of that. he made sure that there's like no other
Because
liens,
it
no
was
other
complex
claimants,
though.
and
Let's
blah
talk
blah
about the
blah.
complexity of it because how the HOA, got some of the funds as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like when I first looked up the surplus letter, there was X amount, and it was actually a good thing that the property like went back to foreclosure because that money that came doubled actually paid off the HOA.
Mhm.
So she actually ended up in the end getting the
Wow,
number that she was first going to get.
perfect.
Um, but yeah, so the HOA came in, took X amount, uh and then the town came in, took like, like water and trash. Oh, I think it was taxes actually. Took all their taxes. And it was super important to, Mike was great. He could go through the whole docket and find out exactly what we needed to do. So, and he guided me. So like I really didn't have to do much.
Exactly.
I scrubbed it a little bit, I mean, scrubbed it a little bit, got her on board. She was great. Hey, how you doing? Shake hands with her, get it to Mike, boom. And he kind of, there was already a whatchamacallit, a hearing already set up for January 17th. And he's like, oh, look at this. Great. Boom. He got it on that hearing, talked to the judge, talked to the claimants and the plaintiffs and everything. And boom, got in there and made
Yeah.
it happen.
Because after you
So,
guys
and that was
had
like 3 weeks ago.
exactly, I was gonna say that after you guys had your hearing, you got the check super fast, and that's awesome.
So that was the 17th of January. So whenever people, and today is February 6th. So that's 3 weeks. You
Exactly.
know what I mean? So yeah, we're looking like 3 weeks from hearing to getting paid,
Paid exactly once.
which is great.
Wow. Yeah, which is awesome. So for those who are, just starting to get into this business, do you have any, words of wisdom, any pieces of advice that you would share with them?
Yeah, just stay consistent. Because what happens is, we didn't talk about this, but in Excess Elite, every 5 to 7 days, there is a background company scrubbing all of these auctions and scrubbing all these different lists for all the counties in the United States. So when they find all the new stuff, they put it into Excess Elite, and that's where I can go and get all the new leads and all the new people. So the thing is like if you start day one, the people that you start texting and calling on day one aren't going to be the same ones that you're calling and texting on day 30 because all new leads get poured into the system. I've noticed every maybe like 5 to 7 days or
Exactly.
so. And that's what I do. So every night, I'll go ahead and I'll look and I'll be like, oh, look, there's a new county. I'll go to the county, click on however many there are, boom, set them up for the automation. The next day it starts with the text and I get all the notifications right here on my phone. And also there's an app for it on my phone, which is great because I'll be at the gym working out and then I'll get just like that actually. Can you see that?
Yeah, notification.
Yep, just got a notification right there. So I got to look and see what's going on there. This could be, I actually am about to sign up another deal. So, and just again through Access Elite, just by texting her, and this is her texting me back here. So it's great because you can keep it on the go. You don't necessarily have to be at your computer.
Yeah, and that's awesome that you're able to do this business while still, I mean, you're working on boats, you're renovating properties, you're helping me sell my property, you're doing everything.
Yeah,
And still at
yeah,
the time, that's why I tell people this is a great industry because it doesn't work. It requires focus and attention and consistency, but it doesn't require so much time where you're
like
like,
no,
oh, I
it's no long hours. You're
yeah.
not sitting at a call center
Mhm.
doing anything like
Yeah, I mean,
that.
if you set it up correctly, you're gonna get hit up. You're gonna get messaged.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I'd say, I mean, honestly, man, for my first deal, I talked to Maxine maybe 4 times on the phone, and she wasn't long-winded. She was just like, "Get me my money," and
Yeah.
I'm like, "All right." So I maybe spent all of maybe 4 minutes on the phone with her, and then maybe about 25 minutes on the phone with the attorney,
Yeah.
and
So
then I'm
let's
bringing
say
in
it's safe to say 1 to 2 hours worth of actual work for a little over 5 grand, which is amazing.
yeah,
Yeah. And this is
exactly.
the first
So
one. It's like fishing. You caught the same process that you do for this surplus deal is the same process that you would do for $1 million surplus deal. So it's just like
right.
fishing. One day you're gonna hit big and boom, you're gonna get a 30, $40,000 payout compared to a $5,000 payout.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But hey, all money is green and everything helps.
Exactly. Yep, taking it
So
all. Well, Rusty, man, I definitely appreciate you. Thank you for dropping your
sure.
success story with us.